believe people buy you. People don't buy a product. People don't buy a company. They buy you. And the difference in the $100,000 a year salesperson and the $10,000 a year salesperson is the way you feel about what you do. Folks, in your business life, if what you do is just a way to make a living, just a way to put food on the table, it's just a job, folks, you're going to fail. You're going to be disappointed. If you want to win, if you want to do something incredible that you're proud of, you've got to have an unbelievable passion about what you do. You know, the life insurance business is over 100 years old, and you've got big companies that have been around over 100 years like Prudential and Northwestern Mutual and New York Life and Metropolitan, and there's never been but one $300 billion company in that industry, and that $300 billion company was A.O. Williams. And we found out that the first 5 or 10 minutes you make a sale. See, I believe, folks, that first 5 or 10 minutes you're with a prospect, you either make the sale or you lose the sale. You know, I also believe there's a cancer spreading in business today, and this cancer is just destroying most salespeople's careers and most companies' future. And this cancer are these trainers, these brains, these professor-type people that go into a company and they replace the passion, they replace the emotion with logic. These brains train salespeople in giving a presentation. They give them a big, long, beautiful presentation with a lot of pictures and a lot of graphs, and they talk about products and services and benefits, and they show companies' stability and companies' growth. The thing wrong with that, it's boring. You know, after 5 or 10 minutes, the client quits listening and you've lost the sale. You know, these brains, they work with salespeople and they teach them how to overcome objections, and they teach them how to look for buying signals. They teach them different sales and closing techniques. They even work with salespeople on how to dress, you know, dress for success. Dumb, dumb, dumb. See, folks, you can't take a donkey and win the Kentucky Derby. And see, folks, if you cut open a salesperson and he don't have the goodies inside, if he doesn't have an unbelievable passion about what he's doing, if he doesn't have tremendous belief and tremendous sincerity about what he's doing out there, folks, you can train him all you want to, you can dress him up ever how you want to, and you still a donkey. You know that? You ain't no thoroughbred, I'll tell you that. You know, these brains have even tried in many companies to eliminate the need of a salesperson. When I was ITT, some brain invented a briefcase that was really a TV kind of thing. You'd walk in a house with a briefcase, you'd open it up on a table, and on one side of the briefcase was a TV screen. And you'd plug that in and you'd hit a button, and it made the perfect presentation. Never made a mistake. The only thing wrong with it is it didn't work. So see that old impersonal briefcase, you know, it didn't show the salesman sweat, and that sweat, you know, coming out on top of his lip and on his brow. You didn't feel the passion, you didn't feel the intensity, the energy just oozing out of the salesperson. You didn't see the excitement in his voice, in his eyes. See, folks, I believe people don't buy on logic. See, I believe people buy on emotion first, and then they buy on logic. See, at A.O. Williams, we found that the first 5 to 10 minutes is everything. In the first 5 or 10 minutes you're with a prospect, you're either going to make the sale or you're going to lose the sale. Let me tell you, Randy, why I'm so passionate about what I'm doing right now. My dad died at age 48. He was, you know, never been sick other than just normal stuff, and died of a massive heart attack. I was a junior in college, and my brother was a junior in high school, and I had another brother that was in the 6th grade. And my mother, like most mothers in the 50s, had no education, formal education, and she worked in the home. And my daddy left no will, no meaningful savings program, and was sold too little the wrong kind of life insurance. And so I personally witnessed my mother having doing some very tough things, you know, to raise her family. 5 years later, I went to a family reunion at my mother's home in Cairo, Georgia. My cousin, whose name is Ted Harrison, he was an accountant then, lived in Tallahassee, Florida. After lunch, said, "Art, come here, I want to show you something." He showed me the concept of buy term and invest the difference. I was a football coach at that time, Randy, and I was making $10,700 a year, head football coach and athletic director. at Kendrick High in Columbus, Georgia, and I was making $10,700 a year, and I had a $15,000 cash value life insurance policy, and he showed me the concept of buy term and invest the difference, where I could take the same money I was spending for the $15,000 for the wrong kind of insurance and buy over $150,000 of term life insurance. And my wife, who was an English teacher, Angela, also, we were saving $100 a month in our teachers' credit union and making 5%. And he showed me how credit unions and banks sort of rip you off as an investment too, that they really rent your money at 5%, and they take your money and, let's say, invest it in credit cards. Maybe you and your family would have a credit card, and they charge you 20%. So they rent my money for 5%. They take my money and give it to families like yours, you know, and charge you 20% to use a credit card, and they make a 15% profit using my money. And so he said, Art, you ought to bypass these middlemen. You ought to buy term insurance, pure insurance, cheap insurance from an insurance company, and invest that money in an investment vehicle where you make the profit, you know, for yourself. And that just sort of wiped me out. So anyway, to make a long story short, I went into selling buy term and invest the difference. I represent a company called A.O. Williams, and we sell 100% term insurance, Randy. We don't sell anything but term insurance. And let me just give you a brief example of the huge magnitude of difference in the cost, Randy. We're not talking about just saving you nickels and dimes. We're talking about a huge amount of money. Let's say you have a $100,000 life insurance policy. Typical cash value or trash value policy, I call it, would cost around $1,000. That same policy, if you buy pure death protection, pure term insurance, would cost you around $200, Randy, a huge difference. Now this is going to be hard for you to believe. It was hard for me to believe. But Randy, 85% of the trash value salesmen out there, they own the cheap stuff on their own life. They own term insurance for their family, the inexpensive stuff, but they sell the expensive stuff to the consumer. And why do you think they do that, Randy? For commissions, as you know, okay? Prudential example would pay 50% commissions on, it doesn't matter what kind of product you pay. And so 50% commission on a $1,000 policy would generate a $500 commission. 50% commission on a $200 term policy would be a $100 commission. So they make 5 times more commission selling cash value insurance. The company, of course, makes 5 times more profit, you know, selling this company, so that's why they do it. And Randy, I know you've wondered why these public opinion polls, you know, always rank insurance agents at the bottom of the stack, you know. Every public opinion poll I've ever seen talking about prestigious professions, you know, in our country, on the bottom of the dadgum totem pole, you got used car salesmen, politicians, and insurance agents, okay? And I think you see why. Let me give you a little bit clear explanation of what I believe in. Let's say, Randy, you have $1,000 to put in your insurance and investment program. The insurance industry believes in a concept that I call bundling, where you take your insurance dollars and your investment dollars and you bundle it together. You give it to an insurance company, okay? And they take $1,000 and they give you a $100,000 life insurance program. Anytime you die, they're going to pay your family $100,000. And then they also give you a cash value element, okay, as a savings program. My company, A.O. Williams, believes in what we call split funding. We believe in taking the same $1,000, Randy, but in splitting that up, buying an insurance from an insurance company and savings and invest with a savings or investment company where you invest in 2 things, you own and control 2 things, okay? So let's say you go to a company like ours and you take $200 and you buy the same $100,000. Anytime you die, you know, your estate's going to get $100,000. Now our $100,000 spends just as good as their $100,000, okay? And then you take the difference, that $800, Randy, and you put it over here into an investment program with a mutual fund or bank or, you know, wherever you want to put it, okay? Now one thing we do instantly, Randy, don't worry about the technical aspects. I'll explain detail more to you later. But let's say you put this difference into an IRA, okay? That immediately, you would defer $200 that you're sending to the federal government. So immediately, you would have $1,000 going into your investment program where over here in an insurance company, you know, you have a full $1,000 plus you have your insurance here of $200, okay? Now, Randy, if you forget Art Williams ever existed, okay, don't remember this visit, Nothing I ever say to you, okay? Right. Except one thing, it'll make you and your family a lot of money in your lifetime. Life insurance is the poorest savings program the world has ever known, okay? For a lot of reasons, Randy, but let me just give you 6 specific reasons. Number one, an insurance program does not qualify for an IRA, okay? Now, Randy, you got to understand the government will let you put before tax money into an IRA, and you can fund an IRA with any kind of investment out there, okay? But the government won't even allow you to put an IRA investment money into an insurance policy. Whereas if you buy term and invest the difference, you can immediately go to a bank or a mutual fund company and you start off with a 28% advantage, Randy, and you're not talking about 28%, Randy, you're talking about mega bucks down the road, okay, difference. Number two, let's say you have an emergency. Everybody has to prepare for emergencies, Randy. Let's say you have an emergency and you have a need for some of your investment program. With an insurance policy, the first year, if you have an emergency, you lose 100%. Even though they charge you $1,000, okay, for your insurance and savings program, at the end of the first year, if you want your money, you have an emergency, you have nothing in your savings program. Here, of course, you get all your money back, plus the interest, you know, your money would have occurred. The third thing is insurance companies historically pay the world's worst rate of interest, okay? The FTC said between 1% and 3% interest. Well, of course, you can go anywhere, beat that 10, 12 or more percent interest in a really good mutual fund, you know, whatever. The fourth thing is a startling thing. The insurance company pays a sorry rate of return like 1% to 3%, but if you want your money, Randy, they charge you to borrow your own dadgum money. Ain't that something mind-boggling, okay? They charge you 6 to 9%. They pay you 1% to 3%. They charge you 6 to 9% to borrow your own dadgum money. Well, again, if you have your money separated from an insurance company, you know it's down in a bank or it's in a mutual fund, then you pay no interest to use your money. I mean, that's your money, right? The fifth thing is going to blow you away. Typically, a trash value policy at age 65, 50%, the cash will be worth 50% of the amount of the face of the policy, okay, around $50,000. Now, this is where the IRA, the 28%, a little bit more rate of interest, is going to blow you away. Here, that same money you've invested now, by term invested difference, would grow to around $500,000. Wow. Mind-boggling, okay? But this, Randy, is going to wipe you out. This is what I saw in 1967. It's a little hard for me to believe today they get away with this. If you die with a trash value policy, okay, your estate gets the face amount of the policy and you lose your savings. Ain't that something? Mm. Here, if you buy insurance from a term insurance company and then invest the difference in an investment company totally separate from an insurance company, Randy, then your estate would get the $100,000 from an insurance company. They can walk down to the bank and get the $500,000 or write off and get the mutual fund company to send you that. Isn't that something? Staggering the difference. Let me show you just a quick summary. That's at age 65 now. You die. The insurance company with the trash value concept pays your estate $100,000. You lose your savings. If you live, you build up $50,000, poor rate of return at age 65, and you lose your protection if you want your savings, okay? You pay for two things, it's bundled together, you pay for two things, but by law you can never get but one of those benefits at one time. With our concept of buy term and invest the difference, where you separate, split it out, at age 65, if you die, the insurance company sends your family $100,000, plus you've got $500,000 in your investment program, total value $600,000. If you live and you get ready to retire at age 65, let's say, or whatever, you know, you're entitled to take the whole $500,000 out, or you can take a monthly income, you know, to retire on. Plus, if you choose, you can leave the $100,000 in your insurance program, total value $600,000. Isn't that unbelievable?